You ever hear Christians talk about the importance of inviting people to church? When I was growing up in Sunday school, we got stickers for attendance on our attendance chart, but there was also getting stickers for inviting somebody to church. Of course, not many of us did that very often, and most of the time it was kids who got invited to church, not parents. You know, since those early days as a believer, I've discovered that Jesus tended to go find people where they were. He didn't invite them all the time to the synagogue or to church. And so I've begun to experience in my life what it's like to actually invite people to know Jesus by going to them rather than inviting them to church. Over here behind me, apartment 41, is a place where I had a Zacchaeus moment a few years ago. I came over because there was a family living there that was going to be evicted unless somebody else who was living there moved out. So there were two families living in the home, but only one was allowed to be there. I knocked on over there in order to speak to the father of the family that was living there but wasn't on the lease. And I wasn't there to tell him he had to leave per se, although we needed to have a conversation about finding a new housing arrangement. When I knocked on the door, a man opened and presented as someone who was very depressed, lonely, and discouraged. His name was Elijah, same name as my oldest son. Spent some time with Elijah that day. We sat down on the couch, we cried together, we prayed together. And one of the things that I said to him that day was that I had to come to his house. Just as Jesus said to Zacchaeus, I must come to your house today. It was divinely appointed that I be at this time in this place so that I could sit on that couch and invite that Elijah to find his hope in the Lord and to find his strength renewed. It's a beautiful day, a beautiful time where a grown man and I sat together and we cried over the discouragement of the last few years, and I offered him the hope of the gospel. You know, Jesus said that he came to seek and to save the lost. To seek the lost. Churches always have services. I shouldn't say always. They sometimes have services that they call seeker services. The idea is that they're services that are friendly for people who aren't used to being in church, people who are seeking. And those people might come to church. We need to have a service for them. I'm not so sure if seeker services are a good or bad idea. All I know is that we are supposed to be seekers. And sure, people may want to know the answers to life's biggest questions. They might be seekers. But Jesus said he was a seeker, and he calls us to be seekers. And that might mean inviting ourselves to other people's turf. I mean, Jesus looked at Zacchaeus and he said, I'm coming to your house. And some of the greatest joys I've experienced have been in seeking, actually pursuing and going to the homes and to the neighborhoods of those who need the hope of Jesus Christ. I'm excited about us doing that as a church together. Let me introduce you to somebody that I think you'll be glad to meet. So, and here I am today. This is Elijah in front of his actual home. You know, last time I met him, when I first met him, he was not at his house, right? But that day, Elijah was my Zacchaeus. And we were just sitting out here outside his house talking about that story of Zacchaeus and how God was after him that day in the same way that Jesus was after Zacchaeus. And so, Elijah, I am glad that you became my brother after that day.
I'm glad to be your brother.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
And your family.
Thank you for coming and showing us the right way.
Yeah.
Showing us, help put me back on the path. That was straight. That path is so straight, man.
I told you the Lord was after you that day.
Yes, you did. Yes,
didn't
you
I?
did. Yes, sir.
I said that was God knocking on your door, not Paul Fisher.
He's never stopped knocking either.
Right.
Now it keeps me going. Keeps me going.
All right, I love you, brother.
I love you too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. I hope you'll join us this Sunday at the King of Prussia Church of Christ. We've got our Bible classes at 9:30 for all ages. Then at 10:30 we've got worship. We'll study together about Zacchaeus and Jesus and how he came to seek and save the lost. Also, we'll have children's worship so that parents can get the most out of the message while their children attend children's worship. It's going to be a good Sunday at the King of Prussia Church of Christ. See you there.